morning, students. Welcome to your biology classroom. So, I hope that you have understood the basics of the epithelial tissue. So, I'm marking it done. So, the various features which are related to the epithelial tissue, their classification and the basis of the shape of the cells, all is familiar to you. Today we will start with the next tissue, that is the connective tissue. So today's objectives are to define connective tissue, to enlist the features of connective tissue, and to explain various types of the connective tissue. So first of all, the definition, as the name is indicating, this tissue connects the various body parts, connects various parts of the body so that the different functions can be correlated, can be combined with one another. All the tissues are dependent on one another. So connectivity is very important. So this tissue, particularly blood, very important one, the blood one, and other tissues of this type also, they connect the various body parts so that the body as a whole can function smoothly. So connective tissue is a type of tissue which connects the various parts of the body for a smooth functioning. Now the second objective is to enlist the features of the connective tissue. As we have done epithelial tissue, similarly connective tissue is having a particular type of feature which make it distinct from the others. Number one, this connective tissue consists of a ground matrix. There is a intercellular material that is called as the matrix. So there is an intercellular matrix or a material in between which the different types of the cellular parts are suspended. So these are the different cellular parts. So the main feature is the connective tissue consists of a ground substance called as the matrix. It is also called as the intercellular matrix, in which the different cellular parts are suspended. In the case of the epithelial tissue, we have done that the cells are closely, compactly packed without any intercellular space. So, but in this case, there is lot of intercellular space in between the cells, and that is being occupied by the matrix, that is the ground substance. Now, this nature of the matrix may be jelly-like. It may be impregnated with calcium, phosphorus. It may be rigid. It may be flexible. So, depending upon the nature of the intercellular matrix, we have further divided the connective tissue into various types. Number one is blood. The most important connective tissue is blood. Number two is the skeletal tissue. Skeletal tissue consists of bone and a softer tissue called cartilage that also come in this category. The third one is the tendons. The fourth one is ligament. These two tissue, they connect the bones with the muscles as well as the bone with another bone. We will do in detail. Then there is a packing tissue that is called areolar tissue and adipose tissue. So as a whole, there are 7 types of the tissue. We have placed the 2 tissues into one category: blood, the fluid connective tissue, bone, the rigid connective tissue, cartilage, the flexible connective tissue, tendons, ligaments, the connective tissue which connects bone with the other parts, areolar tissue and adipose tissue that are acting as the packing tissue in our body. So we will do these 7 basic type of the connective tissue. So to start with, the most important connective tissue is the blood. Now the blood is defined as the fluid connective tissue. It is the main connective tissue. Whenever we talk about tissue, there is a thing, cellular type of thing, solid type of thing, but blood is a fluid connective tissue in our body. It consists of 2 parts. Whenever we take a sample of a blood in a test tube and then centrifuge it at a very high rate, then we get 2 columns of this centrifugation activity. One column is red in color and the other is yellow in color. So the yellow part is called as plasma and the red part has got the cells in it. So likewise, the blood, it consists of 2 parts. Number 1 is the colorless matrix called plasma, and number 2 are certain formed elements, cellular part, which are named as formed elements. So the plasma, it has got proteins in it, it has got water in it, it has got salts, it has got dissolved gases in it, and above all, it also has various type of the hormones present in it. So these are the different ingredients which make the plasma. The formed elements are further divided into 3 categories. Number 1 is red blood cells, RBCs, which carry a very important pigment called hemoglobin, which is the oxygen carrier in our body. It has got white blood cells, that is WBCs, which are the defense cells in our body. The defense cells, there are further 2 types. One is called as A granulocytes and the other category is called as granulocytes. A granulocytes and other is granulocytes. In A granulocytes come 2 categories. One is called as the lymphocyte and the other is called as the monocyte. So lymphocytes are small cells with nucleus in them. They produce antibodies in our body, and the monocytes are the larger one, very large cells with little bented nucleus in them that provide the defense. They phagocytize, they eat the foreign bacterial particles and thus provide protection to us. Now these granulocytes are further of 3 types. Number 1 is called as neutrophils. Number 2 is called as the eosinophils. And the third one is called as the basophils. These students, these things are given in the book in the form of diagrams, but no explanation is there. Neutrophils have got many lobed nucleus in them. Lobed means many swellings are there in the nucleus. Number 1, number 2, number 3. So that's why they are also called as polynuclear leukocyte. Please keep in your mind this name, that is polynuclear leukocyte. Leukocyte is the another name for the WBC. Eosinophils have got bilobed nucleus, 1 lobe, and then the second lobe. It has got 2 lobed nucleus. and basophils have also slightly lobed nucleus. It is not so clear, just this form of the nucleus is there. So these cells are called as granulocytes because in their cytoplasm granules are there, small, and these are called as agranulocytes because they don't have granules in them. They are simple in their form. So these are the different type of the WBCs. Just be familiar with the name and a bit of diagram. Explanation in detail is not in the syllabus. The third type is called platelets. Platelets are actually the cellular fragments. They are small cellular fragments which are responsible for blood clotting mechanism in our body. They have got one factor called as the thrombin which causes the blood clotting. So they are also called as thrombocytes, but keep in your mind this name, that is platelets. They help in coagulation of blood clotting. So these are the different components of the blood. I repeat again, blood consists of two components: plasma, that is a colorless fluid matrix, and formed elements. Elements means here cells which have got a form. Plasma contain proteins, water, salts, dissolved gases and hormones, and the formed elements have RBCs which carry hemoglobin. WBCs, two types, agranulocytes and granulocytes. Agranulocytes includes lymphocytes. They produce antibodies, and monocytes which eat the foreign bacteria, and granulocytes consist of neutrophils, eosinophils and basophils. They all together provide defense to the body. And the third type of the cellular fragments are called platelets, which are involved in blood clotting mechanism. So these are the different types of the blood components. So again, revise all these things very carefully and do see the pages of the book so that the main key points are very familiar to you. In next part, we will do the next connective tissue.